wait till a few people get up in here, and then we'll get started. This is kind of impromptu, so just gonna kind of wait for people to kind of file in. Hope everybody having a good afternoon. It's about 3:04 Eastern time here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm just here to talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints. Had a few minutes. This ain't even really a show. This ain't even really a show. So what I'm doing is I'm just answering some of your questions right now because it's been a minute since I did one of these shows, man. This kind of throwback. I remember I used to sit in my office in the mornings and answer questions. So I just thought that, maybe I'll just do a show like this for a few minutes. Once again, I don't even want to call this a show. So what we're going to do is if you have questions about the Black and Gold or concerns, I'll just go ahead and read some of your comments. Hit that like button on your way in. Hit that like button on your way in. If you like the State of the Saints podcast, you rock with your boy, hit that like button on your way in. All right. Now, I hope everybody having a good Friday, man. I mean, it's Friday, and I don't know how it is where you are, but out here, man, it feels like fall. I mean, it's like 72 degrees, man. I mean, it's just like long sleeve shirt type weather, not too hot, not too cold, like just perfect. Like it's a beautiful day, man. Had a long night. Coastal Carolina, the team that I cover out here, they played against Georgia State. And that game ended almost midnight my time, and I didn't get that much sleep, man. You get home, you try to unwind. Get home, by the time you get in the bed, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, Yeah, but man, I enjoyed it, man. It was a good game. A lot of talent out there, man. A lot of talent. I seen like 3 scouts, which was crazy, right? The 3 scouts that I saw, one of them was from the Green Bay Packers, and the other one was from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the third one was from the Chicago Bears. I just found that funny. Like, you got the scout of the team that the Saints playing Sunday, you got a scout of the team that's in the Saints division, and then you got the Bears. But all three of those teams have something in common. Like, they're not really confident in their quarterback. And in this game that took place on Thursday night, you had two of the best quarterbacks in the Sun Belt. So I just thought that was very telling. But let's go ahead and talk, man. I don't know if some of y'all saw the game on ESPN. Yeah, it was a nationally televised game. I went back and I watched it. I actually saw myself on the sidelines, man, twice. I actually saw myself twice on the sidelines. Pretty cool. Let's see. Good afternoon, Who Dat family, watching live from work. Yeah, thank you so much, Tyra. I appreciate that. Yeah, and Tyra, thank you for that question you sent out last episode. I thought that was a really good question that you asked, and it helped me to expound on something that a lot of members of the Who Dat Nation didn't even think about offensively. I thought that was a good question that you asked. Trey says, what do you think about the O-line play? And do you think the next man up theory will work with Marcus May's suspension? That's a good question, Trey. I think we're all in agreement when it comes to the offensive line of the Saints. They leave a lot to be desired. Not very good right now. They're trying to figure it out. I don't know if they're ever going to figure it out as far as being one of the most elite offensive lines in football. But if they can hold it down to a point where they can actually give Derek Carr some time, maybe they'll find more offensive success. As far as the Marcus May suspension, I'm just like everybody else. I feel like, why now? When you think about the verdict coming down, I mean, the verdict came down like late August, but I'm pretty sure that the NFL kind of keep their eyes on stuff like that. I just find it weird that it took 3 weeks for them to come up with a verdict. But all in all, I think the Saints are still in good shape. I think there's a lot of talented young members of their secondary, and you got some veterans out there that just need opportunity. So I'm not that concerned about it. But, Marcus May is a really solid player for the Saints. So, but I don't think it's like if Marshawn Lattimore got suspended for 3 games. It's not like that. Like I feel like you can still get levels of production from other players that you possibly could have gotten from Marcus May. Not to say that Marcus May doesn't deserve to be a starter, but I think these other guys can be able to step up and do their thing as well. I saw that game Thursday night. Yeah, I mean, it was a good game, man. But I think that both quarterbacks did a good job, all things considered, based on their situations. Like you can tell, like up close, that the offensive line of Coastal Carolina was just small compared to the defensive line of the Georgia State Panthers. So I think that was the biggest issue. But I like Darren Granger. I know he played for Georgia State, the team that Coastal was playing against, but I think that guy has a lot of talent. He's gonna be a good, solid quarterback. Hey TJ, do you think Kendrick Miller gonna do what are you gonna do in his debut game? Hopefully he does a good job. I don't think anything's wrong with Kendrick Miller. I think that the guy's like really talented. I think that he's a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's a guy that possesses skills that he doesn't even have to lead a field. Like a lot of things that people didn't see from Kendrick Miller, it wasn't because he couldn't do it. It was just the fact that TCU is more of a smash mouth offensive team when it comes to running the football, and they try to play sound defense. And what happens is when you have a guy like Kendrick Miller, who is a larger guy, like he's a rookie, man. But if you look at him, like he doesn't look like one. And you look at him and you just think that he's just, just a big battering ram. But he's a guy that has a lot of elusivity that a lot of people don't give him credit for. And he has like good, solid hands. I need to see him a little bit more with the blitz pickup. But all in all, I think he should do a solid job. I think he might even score a touchdown in this game. All right. Trey says it's the play calling and improvement from last year. And what are your thoughts on Derek Carr's performance so far? Well, Trey, as far as like it being an improvement from last year, I can't say that because it's only been like 2 games, and I honestly, I feel like people that's being like hypercritical about the offense based on this year are being hypercritical as well, and people well within their rights to feel any way they want to. I want that to be clear. Like, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind as far as how they feel about something, and I'm not trying to make anybody feel crazy. This is my opinion. Like, take it for what it is. I just think that if you're holding on to hypercritical criticism after 2 games, like you came into the season ready to complain about something, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to Pete Carmichael, like last game, I think that was probably one of the best games he's called since he's been an offensive coordinator. I think it was more about the execution of the plays, more so than the plays that he was actually calling. Because, I mean, you think about that doing a halfback toss off to Taysom Hill, or the swing pass off to him. You think about like some of the plays that could have got a first down. I just think that is more about chemistry more so than the play calling. See, when people are watching the games and the plays don't work, or the ball don't get into the hands of the playmakers, we find ourselves thinking that it's about the offensive line, the offensive coaches. But in reality, it's just about chemistry. I think the biggest issue with the Saints is the chemistry. I think that Derek Carr isn't on the same page with his receivers. I think that they make big plays when they need to. But as far as like the overall chemistry, I think they leave a lot to be desired as of right now. And I think that's why people are a little bit confused. Like they're thinking that because you got Chris Olave, because you got Rashid Shaheed, because you got Mike T-Bag, they feel like, we should be scoring 50 points a game. But with these new pieces, it's going to come a little bit of some hardship at times. But I think it's more so about the overall offensive cohesion, as of right now versus just Pete Carmichael's play calling. I know a lot of people don't like Pete Carmichael, and when you think about the way that the NFL is going, you got a lot of young, vibrant offensive coordinators that come up with all these different sophisticated offensive plays, and they look good. And we see teams putting up a bunch of points, and we were just wondering why a team can't be like that. But look, I think that this team sooner rather than later gonna end up like reaching a stride, and they're gonna get like hot. Like I don't want to. I hate to compare this, but it's kind of like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like when Tom Brady first came. Like the first game when they played the Saints, the offense was just not in sync. Like Tom Brady was throwing picks left and right. And and also for a few games, like they looked pretty bad. I think they even lost to the Bears, who wasn't very good. And then all of a sudden, like they went off on their bye week and they came back and they didn't lose another game. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Tom Brady was trying to get chemistry with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and stuff. I know we don't want to hear that, but it's kind of the same way. You got to give these players time in order for them to develop chemistry. But a lot of us, our biggest issue is we're a little bit impatient, when it comes to, wanting to reach success because we want it instantly. Like that, we want that instant gratification. Like that's just human nature now. We want instant gratification. Like we got that microwave mind, right? We want things to happen overnight. But they're not going to happen overnight. And I'm not just picking on anybody. I'm saying this about myself. I can be hypercritical at times, but don't get it twisted. I'm a fan of the team. I'm emotionally invested in the New Orleans Saints. I cover like different sports, and it's cool, but I mean, it's like it holds a special place in my heart. You know what I'm saying? It's a level of emotion that you have when you're talking about your hometown team. So sometimes you can be a little bit hypercritical, but I think patience is a virtue. I know people don't want to hear that, and people may even consider that as an excuse, but I just think that it's going to take some time. With the change in safeties, May suspension, how worried should the Saints fans be about the secondary? I wouldn't be too concerned, Neil. I do think that the advantage is the fact that you had guys that played a full year together and they understand one another's tendencies. I think that's a plus. And I do apologize to everybody out there. It's probably used to me being a little bit more animated. It's probably not going to be that type of episode, so I apologize in advance. But I think that the chemistry that you develop over time is a plus. I don't think it's a coincidence that the Saints secondary started to grow once guys like Marcus Williams and Marshawn Lattimore and PJ Williams, all those guys started to like grow up and become veterans together. It's because they understood each other. They understood what each other was good at, what they were lacking, what I need to pick up the slack, blase. So I think in that regard, it can probably be an advantage for the opposition. But it's not like you're talking about several guys here. You're talking about, one particular guy that's going to be gone for a couple of weeks. And if you're a member of the secondary, that's kind of the norm. Like somebody in the secondary is going to get hurt or they're going to miss some time. So I wouldn't be very concerned about that. But, when you have guys that have a level of chemistry and understand one another to a point where, they can count on one another to be where they are, where they need to be. I think that that's an advantage. Patrick, thank you very much for the $9.99, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let me see. Until this O-line gets better, the only thing we strive for is an early first-round exit. The O-line got to improve big time. Irvin, I just think that I think that you're right about the offensive line. But, I really just feel like it's just going to take some time in order for these guys to, get on the same page. I don't know if anybody ever played offensive line and know how it works, but when you don't really fully understand a quarterback's cadence or, quarterback's tendencies, it can be a recipe for disaster early, right? Because you have to understand what the quarterback does. You got to understand his cadence, his rhythm. And also this offensive line as a cohesive unit. We mentioned on several shows here that the offensive line didn't really play together that much. When one guy comes back, another guy goes out. It's like they tagging in and out. So when you don't have guys on your offensive line who are starters constantly practicing together so they can be a cohesive unit and be on the same page and a well-oiled machine, you're going to see bumps in the road. You're going to see issues. You're going to see problems. And once again, I mean, it's real early in the season. I've seen teams who, look good, look the part, and, I'm saying, it just takes them some time in order to get it done. And people just wonder, like, what's going on with the team? What's going on with the team? What's happening with them? What are they doing? But it's about coming together as a team, like understanding like guys like the back of your hand. And that takes time. I mean, how it is in any relationship, right? Like you don't just get off the turnip truck, with your wife or your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Like y'all don't just know each other just right off the bat. Like it takes time, right? I mean, date by date, phone call by phone call, sweet gesture after sweet gesture. Like it takes time in order for you to have a level of chemistry. Like I think about with my wife or whatever, when I do something and she like, yeah, I know you, what I'm saying? There's just certain things about me that she knows, but it took time, like it just happens that way. And, I think that sometimes we don't look at it that way because we just think, okay, man, these guys are football players, they're professionals. That's true. But anybody ever played organized sports, like you already know, like if you ever played the quarterback position or play wide receiver or running back, man, you got to be on the same page. It's not easy. It's not easy. It takes time in order for that to happen. And then on top of that, you also have to take into account when these guys wasn't really, they weren't playing in preseason. A lot of these guys were, rehabbing injuries and stuff like that in order for them to be available for the season. So you got to take that into consideration, while we're questioning what's going on with the team. Can you elaborate on the red zone issues? Yeah, Mario. I mean, I just think that the red zone issues are, it's once again, I hate to keep on sounding like a broken record here, but it's just a lack of chemistry. And I also just feel like they're in their heads right now. Like I think they're not doing the best they can possibly do in order to fix these red zone woes because I'm not seeing Jimmy Graham out there. Like even if Jimmy Graham was in there basically just as like a gimmick guy, right? Just to let everybody know that okay, man, we got Jimmy out here. Okay, let's try to double cover him to leave somebody else open. Like come up with a strategic plan. And I also think once again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, about Taysom Hill. I think Taysom Hill ability to be able to run and pass is a nightmare for defenses, right? Because they don't know how to approach it. And I think it's a great advantage for the New Orleans Saints to have. I just think that they need to, get out of their own heads and try to find creative ways, not just, vanilla ways in order to get to the end zone. Like try to find creative ways to do it. But I just think that it comes with the lack of chemistry, the lack of offensive innovation, and not utilizing guys that are really good statistically in the red zone. Like I would like to see Taysom Hill's like touchdown, percentage in the red zone. I would like to see Jimmy Graham's touchdown percentage when the ball is being tossed to him in the red zone. I'm pretty sure they're pretty high. So the Saints kind of strike me as a team that likes to pay attention to analytics and numbers, but you can't like look at analytics and numbers for one particular thing that you feel like serves you and not look at it for the whole totality of it. So I just think that maybe they need to start figuring that out, right? And also that comes with more and more game film that's being produced. So you struggled a little bit in the red zone last game. You struggled in the red zone the first game. What you have is 2 games that you can actually go back and do research and figure out what went wrong. But until they try to come up with creative ways to make plays in the red zone, they're going to continue to have these issues. Can y'all please keep LSU defensive back Greg Brooks in your prayers? Yeah, you know what I mean? Shouts out to Greg Brooks, man. I mean, brother going through a tough time, dealing with a brain tumor. I know how that can affect people, affect families. Rest in peace to Mr. Benjamin Poole, man. He was a good friend of the family. Man, great guy. You know what I'm saying? Dude was like a father figure to me. Anytime I needed him, he was there, man. He kind of did a little mechanic work. Anytime, like, my car, would get broken or something like that when I was in college, man, I would just take it up the hill out there in Vicksburg, Mississippi. He'll fix it for me, man. Or, even if he didn't know how to do it, man, he'll take me anywhere you go in that little silver Dodge Ram he had. But he had a brain tumor, man, and it affected him throughout his life, man. I mean, he would stagger and stuff like that, fall back, because of the tumor. And unfortunately, like towards the end of his life, like it took a toll on him. But I miss him, man. Every time, like I think about, just things go wrong with my car or something like that, I just think about giving him a phone call, man. So rest in peace to Benjamin Poole. Like I know how that is. But as far as Greg Brooks is concerned, I'm praying for his family. That's tough to deal with. It's life altering. You God blesses you with talent and ability to be able to go out there and perform and put yourself in a position to make generational wealth, and then things like this happen. I don't know why things like this happen. Sometimes I feel like things like this happen in order for us to wake up and realize how precious life is. I also think that things like this happen because it makes us realize how we can just take life for granted. When you wake up in the morning and you can brush your teeth, you can wash your face, you can get in your car, you can drive to work, you can hug your kids, you can kiss your wife, kiss your husband. That's a blessing, man. There's things that we take for granted every day. This brother, got an opportunity to go to LSU, one of the biggest and most prestigious collegiate football teams in the country. And it's a dream. And then all of a sudden, this happens. But it's just a bump in the road, man. It's just a bump in the road. And I'm just praying for that brother's health, not so he can get back on the field or anything like that. I'm talking about so he can be able to continue, with his life. That's tough. And I can only imagine as a parent to have a son that young and be dealing with that. Any parent in the world, if you watching this right now, I got 124 people watching this right now. Like, man, if your kid like fell off a bike and they skinned their knee, like you wish you can take that pain of that knee pain that they feel on you. So I can only imagine like how that feels. Like if something, I'm knocking on wood, if something like that was to happen to Paxton, I would be devastated. I would take that lashing in a heartbeat. But God bless that brother, man. TJ, hope all is well with you and your family. TJ, what happened to rookie guard Mark Evans II? Did the Saints cut him? Why was he cut? Do you know the details? Please share. I think they picked him up on a practice squad. Now, if he's not still on the practice squad, it's probably because they waived him not too long ago. But I think he was a part of the practice squad. I don't think anything happened. I just think that you only have so many different spots. Also, throughout the season, they're always trading different guys out, especially like when they are, their job is to kind of replicate what the opponent is going to do. So you might be able to sign a guy that has a little size. You might be able to sign a guy that can, has a little pocket awareness. You may be able to sign a guy that, has a little wiggle to him, you know what I'm saying? As far as with the pass rush and, sometimes, you got to waive guys. So if he's not on the team, it's not to say that they won't bring him back. Maybe they will. TJ, do you think Miller will have over 50 or under rushing? Well, I think he'll have over 50 yards. I think he will. In this game right here, man, you want to make sure that you actually bring the running game. And you also want to kind of, jump on these guys early to try to get the crowd out the game. Now, if the Saints go out there and they start playing like they did against Carolina, I think it might be a little bit rough for them. But if they go out there and they learn from the first two games and they get better, then I think you'll have a better outing. But I think that Kendrick Miller should get like 50 yards rushing, and if he does it, then it'd probably be a combination of run and catching the ball out of the backfield. Let's see, Saints in 22 were around 40% in the red zone. Carr red zone percentage virtually the same. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just those red zone woes that, it just been issues. And, some of the same things that were an issue last year, I don't think anybody should be surprised that they're an issue this year. Because you got to think about this. The same things that Jameis Winston was going through as a quarterback and what Andy Dalton was going through as a quarterback and what Derek Carr is going through as a quarterback are virtually identical, right? You have new quarterback. They're trying to learn their offensive line and learn players. So that's not a coincidence. If you have a team that's, has a low red zone percentage, like all of these guys were trying to learn one another. Those were three quarterbacks right there. So I know people want instant success, but that comes with time. That's all I'm saying. It just comes with time. An ice bath, massage, some stretch, and a heating pad will do the trick. Adebo will play. I'm not worried. Yeah, they probably just had him off on the side for precautionary measures, but I think that's a smart idea, man, because how many times have we seen over the years we get mad because the Saints, making this dude practice and all of a sudden, what I'm saying, he hurt and he can't play. I think they need to be very, very careful with their players, man, because this is a long season and it just got started. I'm gonna take a few more and then we're gonna get up out of here. Says in the red zone, I hope someone gives this to Pete. He needs to do a with a b-ball package with Jawan, Graham, Olave, Thomas. What you think? I think that you need to be creative. I think that you need to look at guys, look at their upside, look at their ability, look at what they can and can't do, and look at, who can give you the best advantage. I look at Jimmy Graham. I know he's the same age as me, 37, but he still can jump. I look at Taysom Hill, him fighting like desperately to get into the end zone. I look at guys like Michael Thomas, who I know some people just want to just think that all he runs is slant routes. But if you give, like, honestly, the last two times that Michael Thomas has been, given a 50-50 ball, he's won that matchup. He won the matchup on the first pass that Derek Carr threw it to him down the left sideline, the catch that he made against Carolina, So if you put the ball up in the air, like Michael Thomas more than likely going to win that matchup. And I just think that the Saints aren't, paying attention to that. And I think they should. Like it's about looking at what you have and knowing if those guys are capable of getting the job done. And I think they can. But I think that, it's not so much about, having all these guys on the field at the same time, but getting the ball into the hands of these guys when you know more than likely the success rate that they will, be able to convert, rather it's a touchdown or a first down. I think that's something that you just need to look at. But that's about knowing your players. That's about knowing your players. Let's see. TJ, thanks for taking my question. Yeah, according to our lads, Mark Evans is not listed on the Saints active nor practice squad, so I figured they just didn't bring him back. Yeah, I think they would just had him on the practice squad, take him off the practice squad. But they do that. Like they'll tell a guy, we're gonna cut you this week. We have to, get the numbers down to a certain thing. We're bringing in this person, but stay close to the phone. We'll call you. And more than likely, like we see guys get activated, deactivated, waived, brought back. We see that all the time. So in my honest and humble opinion, I think that he'll be back. I think that he'll be back. No doubt about that. Now I see Ross Jackson on now. Yeah, I mean, I'm about to go ahead and tag Ross in, man, because I'm about to go ahead and call it afternoon. But I said I just wanted to chop it up with everybody. Just let everybody know, man. I love y'all to death, man. I really appreciate everything that anybody ever checked out the State of the Saints podcast. I appreciate everybody for taking the time out to do that. And just wanted to say that, man. I mean, the show is really taking off. I'm enjoying doing the show. I'm enjoying like taking questions from you all. I enjoy the creativity that we show here, the emotion that we have, how we can have conversations, like real conversations, not just fluff conversations. And I'm gonna just say this because I don't want to make nobody mad. Like it's not about making people mad, but it's about being real. Like it's about being honest. Like I don't do anything out of nefarious reasons when it comes to the team. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just that's just not me. I'm just not built like that. I just tell people what I feel. I know some people, and I peep out the chat. Got to keep yourself humble. But I be peeping out, what I'm saying, the comments at time, and people feel like, I'm negative on a team and stuff like that, and I need to talk more positive. But I mean, I talk positive about the team, but some people just like to, look at the negative, but I'm not gonna lie to nobody. Like I ain't about to sit up here and blow smoke up nobody behind and be like, man, everything's fine, and I'm looking at the same game you watch. Why would I do that? Right? But those are the people that don't really know that much about me. They probably just roll past the channel, heard me talking, and then they'll say stuff like, "You always say that." Like, no, I don't. But all in all, I love doing this show. I love doing this show. I like talking Saints football, but I ain't about to sugarcoat nothing. I'm encouraging everybody here not to sugarcoat anything, right? Yeah, that's what makes this show special, in my opinion, that we can have these conversations and still be the biggest Saints fans in the world. And I like the fact that people understand that, like, just because you talk about a team, your fandom is not, on the line, so to speak, because you said something about a team. TJ, I just watched footage of Kendrick Miller, man. That dude can run the rock. What you think? Oh yeah, man. I mean, I watched him all throughout college, so I know how special he is. And honestly, I don't even think he would have been there in the third round if he didn't get hurt in that game against Michigan in the semifinals last for the college football playoffs. At least he's not dry here like them Popeyes biscuits. Yeah, thanks for always being real with us, TJ. Patrick, I appreciate that, man. And thank you for your donation to the show as well, man. You're a football fan too, not just a Saints fan. Yeah, I mean, look, I love sports, man. Anybody that know me know I love sports. Like I love talking about sports. I cover any team, like, and I mean that. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I know we joke around about like other teams and all that kind of stuff, but I give people the respect. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think about this. A lot of us are products of our environment. Like we fell in love with this team, rather grandma, in my case, granddaddy, mama, daddy, like gave us the love for the team. So if you were growing up, in Pittsburgh or something like that, you'll be a Steelers fan, right? And you would wonder like, why would anybody be a Saints fan, right? So I try to give everybody the same level of respect, like even if I'm not a real big fan of them. Like I don't like the Falcons, I don't like the Cowboys, what I'm saying, but I'm still gonna like support people, what I'm saying, like Juto, what I'm saying, I'm still gonna support my girl Aisha Morrison out there covering the Cowboys, because I mean it's just the passion and the love. I mean, I just love football. I just love sports. I really do. And when you start to like, and I'm not trying to sound, what I'm saying, like I'm big up in myself, but when you start to like see these guys like go through the motions and you kind of humanize them and you see their families like in a crowd and what I'm saying, you see the passion, what I'm saying, after tough losses and stuff. Like last night, I'm at the Coastal Carolina game, and of course they lost the game. It was a tough loss. It was their first conference game. Both teams are in the Sun Belt East, and they lose, right? And I'm making a film, of course, like just basically doing a recording of the final thoughts about the game. And I'm looking at the tunnel, and I just see a bunch of different parents out there, you know what I'm saying? Like just around the tunnel, like waiting for their kids to like shower and, you know what I'm saying, take off their equipment and stuff like that and come on out there so they can give them a hug. And they just out there, you know, tough break, man. It's going to be all right. And you see that, right? And it just kind of humanizes it, you know what I'm saying? And it shows you like the type of a different, you know, a different angle from sports that you probably not even used to. So, you know what I'm saying? I just try to have respect for everybody. And then on top of that, here's the reality, man. Like when you can follow teams and talk about different teams, you know, with that particular fan base, it's very little they can say. You know, like I don't get into like the banter as far as oh your team suck. Why they suck? Because they suck and they not the Saints. Like no, I'm gonna hit you where it hurt, right? You know what I'm saying? If a Falcon fan talking to me and they talking about you know B. John Robinson or something like that, you know, and that's cool, you know, like but I can tell them, you know, I don't care if you got B. John Robinson, David Robinson, Eddie Robinson. Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is, the Saints have beaten you all what? 7 of the last 9 times you played. And that's something that they can't dispute, right? I mean, when you can say stuff like that, like what can you say? But if I just sit up here and say, you suck, you suck, you suck. Why you suck? Well, because you suck. I mean, but when you hit them where it hurt and they know it, right? When you can tell them, y'all had a 16-point lead the last time, you know what I'm saying, in the first game of the season, the Saints came all the way back in your backyard, in your stadium, while your crowd was white hot and y'all took that L. Like, you know, stuff like that. You know, but all in all, it's all fun and I love sports. You love sports. Did you watch tennis with Coco one? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I watched that. I watched I watched Coco and and shouts out to her, man. Like her Naomi Osaka, um what's that new kid's name, man? The one that is the tennis version of Patrick Mahomes. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know his name right off, but I mean he's doing a really good job too. So I mean, I watch everything. I watch everything. You know, probably still hockey, you know, so I don't really get down with that. Baseball, I started to get into ever since, you know, I kind of got into like MLB The Show. That's a video game that I play. But yeah, I just love sports, man. I just like the atmosphere. I like writing about sports. I like talking about sports. It's just great. And as far as the Saints, I mean, it's just man, it's just a whole nother level. Like I just love talking about the team, right? But thank y'all so much for checking out this video. I wouldn't even consider this as a podcast, man. This is just like kind of a little chop up, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Just chopping it up, talking about, whatever. You know, we'll be back. I don't want to say tomorrow. Probably definitely gonna be that Sunday. Sunday we're gonna be with the wall to wall coverage. We're gonna do the prediction show in the morning. And we're gonna do a halftime show, and then we're gonna do, of course, the post game show. We back doing the State of Saints podcast live on the YouTube channel. We're gonna do that this weekend, and we're just gonna be doing that going forward. So looking forward to hearing your questions. Looking forward to reading your comments. Looking forward to you hitting the like button, and I'm looking forward to those that are new to subscribe to see this journey that is the 2023 season for the New Orleans Saints. You all take care. Have a great weekend. And until next time, all I got to say is